Cameron, you got a deal in the door, right?
We did. So I got one. I'm kind of stressed out because I got a lot of stuff moving now. I have too many leads. But I did, yeah. I used your sales tips that we discussed last time, and they worked perfectly. So thank you.
Yeah, man. What worked well for you?
Just the questions, letting the customer uncover like their pain point themselves, letting them realize that they had the problem. So
Yeah,
no confrontation.
yeah, good work. Key word there, guys, is realize. A lot of people have their own realizations. Don't shove it on them. Like let them come to their own conclusion. It'll be much more persuasive than trying to pitch and persuade and convince how good you are. It doesn't really work. It's kind of a broken model at this point. It's the old model of selling. So that's huge. Love to see that, man. And Chad, I sent you over a Loom video. I'm not sure if you're on video, but I sent you a Loom with the YouTube setup as well and everything. If you're there.
Yeah, I'm here. I got it. Oh, thank you.
Yep. Just want to make sure you're taken care of, man. Appreciate that. Didn't mean to leave you hanging.
No problem.
Uh, cool, guys. I always love to just start off with like quick personal win, business win, and then we can dive into like actual sales tactics, strategies, principles. Let me get Lukey boy in here. Luke, Kayla. Love it. I'll say, let's see, Wednesday, personal win. We're just getting momentum going before this event. So stoked to see some of you guys out there. Pablo, I'll see you in Cabo in about a week. Let's go. And business win is been for us, I think that's been working really well. And I think it's just a good lesson for all you guys is JVs. So what I mean by that is continuing to build relationships through the years being in the coaching industry, and it pays dividends. Like we're getting 2 to 3 JV workshops booked a month, and each of those usually will have anywhere from 50 to 120 people on it that we get to pitch to. So that's been a huge win for us in terms of a source of traffic without paying for advertising. So I'll pass it around, a couple of personal wins, business wins, and then we can dive right in. Athena, what's a personal win and a learning business win? I know you're just starting.
Yeah, thank you. Personal win is definitely like getting my message out there, sharing more on socials. And then business win, I just finished your like scriptless sales call. Got a lot of gems from that. Really grateful for the back end, all the videos that you and Andrew have created. I'm in my first week, my like trial week for those of you who haven't met me.
Yeah,
Soak it
yeah.
in.
Athena's good friends with Kayla and Andrew, so it's good to have you here. Joseph, good to see you, dude. What's a personal win, business win this week?
Personal win, I'm doing a releasing course, which is like the Sedona method.
Hmm,
So we've been doing that for 3 weeks now. And it's just
nice.
yeah, so that is great. And then I've got a couple of sales calls this week also.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah. Let's go. I was gonna ask because I know you had some calls, I believe, last week as well. What were kind of the outcomes on the back end of those?
I had one call this week, and he is a college student that doesn't live in at home, so he didn't have any money. But
Logistics.
as far as running the call, I probably give myself a 5 out of 10.
Okay.
Asked some good questions, but also the framework was disjointed. And then the offer was not, I gave it and it was fine, but it
Hmm.
wasn't like, it didn't flow super smooth. That's all.
Wasn't like here's the pillars of the pitch, and it wasn't like super clear.
Yeah, exactly. We
Okay.
worked through these problems and there was a loose flow to tie it all together, but it just
Mhm.
wasn't tight. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's good. That's good feedback. One of the things I love is just whenever you guys have like Fathom recordings, bringing those to these calls. Do you happen to have a recording of any of that by chance? If you're open,
I have a Zoom recording of it. Yeah.
yeah, that works as well. We can take a look at maybe the start of it because usually the first 5 to 10 minutes like sets the tone for the entire
Mhm.
conversation. The way it starts is often the way it finishes. So if
Okay.
there if there is a chance that they have the funds, logistically it's possible. I'd say the first 5 to 10 minutes you can see the tone of a call pretty clear. So we can definitely review that.
Okay.
Uh, thanks for getting that. I love doing call reviews.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'll see if I can find it and let you know.
yeah, if you could pop that up in a minute and we'll drop it in the chat and we'll dive in.
Roger.
Cool, guys. Kayla, how are we doing?
Hi, Mason.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I feel like I had a win that was like maybe not a win in the sales world, but a win in kind of like the intuitive felt experience world where I had a sales call with this woman and she had all like the financial criteria, but there was something off in the conversation. And I kept saying, like, this isn't for beginners, this isn't for beginners. And like she also was getting a bit like quite tense and like there was just like a lot of response that was not a match essentially. And she messaged me a couple days later and was like, yeah, I don't think at this time it's gonna work. And I actually responded and I said, you know what, I kind of agree with you, like there's something off, like there was something off in our conversation that did not feel good. And I felt proud of myself because even though I know she could afford it, like I just don't think her body was at like the capacity for what I have to offer. And it was hard to kind of release it, but I also said, you know, time, it's a timing thing sometimes. So
Yeah, especially totally, especially for what you do, right? You don't want to have someone resent being in that arena with you. Like you want it to be a full fuck yeah. So that's some good wisdom, right? Like not just being like commission hungry, but genuinely there to serve. And I think the only upgrade is just being able to maybe notice that in the moment in a conversation. Like sometimes I pattern interrupt and I call things out like, hey, it seems like even if everything I present here today looked great, and it seems like I'm getting the sense that this would be a no for you, even if it all did make sense. Am I crazy in thinking that? Like I'll just call out the elephant in the room in the middle of a call sometimes. I'm like, I get it's like a negative question, like on purpose. Like I get the sense that even if this all made sense, like you would still say no. Now they have the chance to correct themselves because I'm basically saying no for them.
Mhm.
I'm actually taking it away. I'm saying no for them right now rather than I'm saying it before they can. Does this make sense?
Yes, definitely. Mhm.
And then that gives them either a chance to like get clarity on it or they correct you and they go, no, 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 here's what's actually coming up. And then you can unpack it and see if it's movable or not.
Okay, great. Yeah. Yeah. I'm wanting to get better at that for sure. Mhm.
Yeah, because rather than waiting, having to go through the whole call, listening to them, putting in all the energy to them, it's like, hey, if this feels off now and like you're sensing it, it's like, hey, can I share something with you? Or hey, can I share what's coming up for me? I just kind of know something interesting here. Is it okay if I share with you? And they're like, yeah, yeah, boom. And you just share it vulnerably and then give them a chance to correct it. Like, am I off in hearing that or in feeling that? Like, what is your sense as well?
Mm.
And boom, now you've got like open, safe communication and like they're actually going to be real with you.
Yeah, that's so helpful once again in holding the frame, keeping the frame, even when it is kind of off. Like, yeah.
Yeah, being willing to say no. Cool. And is it is it Velco? Velco? How do I pronounce your name, brother? You're new to the crew. I haven't met you yet.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's
Velco.
done good. Yeah, yeah.
Sweet, dude. You just jump into the trial, or how did you end up here today?
I'm actually with Zach Paul. I'm his setter.
Oh yeah, perfect,
Yeah,
man. Good to meet you. Well, I'd say the best way you could leverage me on these calls is any conversations you do have in the DMs. If you bring them here and you can screen share with me, then I'm happy to look at it with you. Okay?
okay, okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Um, let's see. I'd love to do a quick call review with Joseph. So if you have that Zoom link and you can drop it, we can pull it up and watch the first few minutes of it.
I'm working on it right now. Just give me
Okay.
a sec.
Yeah, yeah. No rush. Let me see here. Chad, just curious, in terms of sales calls, how many, remind me, are you have sales calls in the books right now, or like, because this call is really more around like sales training specifically, so I just want to get you value as well since you're in the trial, man. You have sales calls right now, or give me a sense of how many you're getting per week.
Oh, right now I'm just a little stalled on lead gen. So, but I've done about probably I don't know. I've been in sales for 20 some years and I've done lots of sales training. So, but I always like to sharpen my skills and remind, look at any information that might help.
Sharpen the
Always
sword, right?
try to sharpen the axe, huh?
Sharpen the axe. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. If
Sometimes,
you don't grind the axe, it gets dull.
yeah, it's very true. Sometimes we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. Like anytime I feel like I'm off with my sales game, I just get back to studying. Like I find myself more sharp when I'm essentially in the field or in the game. Like I guess if we thought of it as a, like sports, it's like if you're not practicing, you're not around it. It just your
Yeah.
response times, you're just not as quick and as sharp, like in
Yeah,
flow.
yeah. I did jujitsu and There's times where I've gotten injured, out for a month, you come back and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Or there's guys that they're out for 4 or 5 months and they're higher ranked than I am, but I'm kicking their butt, and it's because they're dull, they're weak, they're not sure.
They're not sharpening and staying consistent, right? They might know the
Yeah.
moves, but it shows on the mat real quick. And I think it's the
Your
same.
mind and body, it gets out of like alignment. You don't have the same muscle memory in place.
That's a really good analogy, actually. And I love using analogies on my sales calls, so I'm gonna store that one. Well, cool, guys. Well, Joseph's doing that. I'd say drop any questions. Some of you guys, let's see. JC, come off me. I want to hear what's up here. We got a 25K deal, doing something adjacent. She's like the texter. I love it. Like the silent stealth bomber, just coming in with a 25K deal, but no words, just text. Come on, girl. Are you crazy?
Asking right now, but yeah, I mean, it was a similar kind of like intuitive hit that the client at the time like wasn't right for the offer because she wasn't open to receiving coaching around dating and around her like decision making around dating, because she had other coaches. So I knew that it wasn't that she's not used to investing at a high level, it was just her receptivity. And I kind of negotiated with myself at first, prior to hopping on another call, feeling like maybe I don't need to coach her. But to be honest, like I can't vouch for a method that's not mine, which includes coaching. And so I basically just came out and said that I don't really get the sense that it's the right offer for her. I'd be happy to, connect her to other matchmakers. And I think through that conversation, she became the right client. That he leaned in about coaching, and yeah, I'm sending out a contract today.
And you're doing the matchmaking service, or you're referring it out? Sorry.
Oh, no. I was going to refer her out to a matchmaking service that only does introductions, but dating coaching is part of my package. So she was kind of trying to pull apart the offer and say, can I pay you less for just the matches? And then I explained the importance of the dating coaching and why it's either an all in or all out for me. And then she,
And then she was down.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good example of repositioning, right? Because people are seeing things through their own lens, and you got to get them to see a new perspective that serves them. Yeah, great work
I
on
was
that.
also just like detached. Like I wasn't gonna make her the person she needed to be successful, but I don't want to compromise my success in somebody through a
Yeah,
process that isn't my process. And so I think the actual win, like the signing a client I love is great, but the actual win is like stepping away from my people pleaser and like my self negotiation and just like knowing that my process works and it's not for everybody.
yeah,
If like they have different ideas about what they need. So yeah,
totally.
in some ways
That's a great
I was
example.
detached.
It's a great example of that detachment, and that's usually when we're the most powerful on sales calls. Is like, I think it's important to get yourself in a position where you can be energetically detached, whatever that's necessary. Like when I was always full-time sales, I always had like a little bit of fuck you money, like a certain amount saved up to feel like even if bills aren't met, like I literally don't need their money. Like that was really important to me as a full-time sales rep to feel like I genuinely don't need your money. And I think it's different for everyone, but I found for me that was like what allowed me to detach and just feel safe in my own nervous system. And then you can be fully convicted and like, dude, this thing fucking works. If you want to go do it your way, that's fine. But this is what I would do, and this is why I would do it. And they're like, damn, I respect that authority. So basically, she stepped into your frame at that point.
Yeah. And I also want to shout out something advice that you gave to the group. I think it was, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but it was just around like really like catching their objections and being like, totally get it, like because I can't argue with the fact that she has invested in a bunch of other people and she didn't want conflicting advice. And I'm like, that totally makes sense to me, and this is like what the offer is. So I think that because I didn't come back and be combative about the past decisions that she made, she softened, because I wasn't like coming back at her or her, decision making process. I just kind of used what you told us in the other call of like, totally get it. Yeah, like that makes total sense to me. And, and I think that really
Yeah,
helped. So thank you for that advice.
great. So something I would write down from that is Yes, and rather than yes, but. Super simple, but just the language pattern, yes, and yeah, but yeah, totally hear you, and then you lead into another question. Like that's a way to catch that, right? If you find yourself saying like but unconsciously, you've immediately negated everything that that person said, and now their filters, their defenses are all up, and whatever you say following the but is not going to be received. You basically negated. So I think you did a really good job there of just like agreeing, and then the frame you're building is on top of that agreement. It's like, yeah, I agree with that. And based off that agreement, you can extend like an argument that's based off her perspective. That's like what real good persuasion does is you see it and then you build an argument based on that perspective, not yours. Does that make sense, guys? Rather than trying to like fight her about it, it's like you frame it in a way where like what I'm saying actually agrees with what they're saying, and now they can't fight it because you're actually in agreement. Eli Sanchez, one of the top mentors like in the online sales space who came to our last event, he's incredible at NLP. He talks about agreement mode, which is basically just always finding a way to be in agreement, not from a place of people pleasing, because that's not effective, but from like an authentic place, like, yeah, I can see that perspective. So I always say I can understand a perspective, but doesn't mean I need to fully accept the perspective. But I definitely have to understand it, because if they don't feel like I at least understand it, there's 0% chance that they're going to receive a new perspective or be willing to build upon the perspective that they have. And now we're no longer in influence, we're no longer in connection, and we're basically stuck. We're just fighting, which is useless. So like snaps for JC, yes, the deal, but really the communication there is just like stellar. So love that. Sweet, Pablo.
So my question is to follow up on my co-email campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been sending emails to the radiology directors, managers, and sometimes they point me to HR department, to the
Mm-hmm.
HR director. And how do I ask? Like for instance, I received this email yesterday. We have several positions open. Please connect with our HR department. How do I ask? Can you?
So they think that you're a candidate rather than a recruiter, right?
No, they know I'm a recruiter. They know. So the thing is like the HR makes, they're the decision makers. So when it comes to hiring staff, the radiology department doesn't make the decision.
Agreed.
HR makes the decision. So they're trying to point me to HR. So how do I ask? Can you point me to the right direction?
Yeah. So at that point, it's basically something along the lines of like, totally get it. Do you know who do you know, who is the one who would be responsible for? And it's basically asking who is responsible for XYZ just to see if I can help, right? That way you can get in contact with that person. So who is responsible for actually going through, doing the hiring and the screening? If I'm understanding it right, I might be a little bit off. So you're looking to who do you want to get in front of ideally?
So both, radiology department and HR. But at the end of the day, it's HR who makes the business decision because they're in charge of the budget.
Yeah, but you might also want to get in front of radiology to build relationships too.
True. So I start with radiology. So the radiology director is where I start.
Yeah.
So ideally, I need to open a campaign for HR as well. So
Yeah.
I'll talk to both. But sometimes they forward my initial email to HR, but
Mhm.
in this occasion, they didn't forwarded the email. So they just pointed me to HR straight.
Yeah, I'm open to get on a phone with whoever I can get basically on the phone with, ultimately uncover some problems, and then basically ask, like, totally appreciate you sharing. Like, with that in mind, who would actually be responsible for looking at hidden gaps in your guys' current recruiting that could be causing you guys to miss out on, high quality talent? Like, who do you know? Who in the organization would be responsible for looking at hidden gaps in your guys' current recruiting and onboarding, because that's kind of what you do. You're basically filling in recruiting, right?
True. Yes.
So I'd be like, no worries. Like, who is it in the organization that would be responsible for looking at hidden gaps in the recruiting process that could be causing you guys excessive turnover and basically losing out on high quality talent for your, your hospital? Like, do you know who that would be, or who could you point me towards that could get me there?
Okay.
So you're not saying, who do you know that I could sell recruiting services to? You
Correct.
you see the difference? One is focused on who do you know that I could pitch? Doesn't sound good. Versus who do you know that would be responsible for looking at hidden gaps in the current recruiting process that could be, yeah, I guess, leading to you guys like losing out on XYZ. So that way you're tying it to a problem.
Correct. Correct. Makes
Because
sense.
if you don't tie the question to a problem, then they're basically, all they hear is you saying, hey, I want to pitch you. Who can I pitch?
I like it. Makes sense. That's why I'm here. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
100%, man. Yeah, and then let's see. I think there's a couple note takers in here as well. So if you need the notes after, just let us know and we can send you the Fathom. Sweet, man. Javon.
Hey,
What's up, bro?
Mason, what's up? Yeah, so I finally started like sending out messages yesterday to people for the offer.
Okay.
I haven't been having a lot of luck with getting any referrals from my warm audience. So I'm thinking about just going all in on like cold, because honestly, all the people that I know of that might be interested, like really interested, are like cold audience, or like just haven't heard from me in like over a year. So they might as well be cold. Um,
There's a big difference between someone who hasn't heard from you in a year and someone who's never heard from you in their life. So
well,
I would differentiate on that a little bit.
I would say that most of the people that I'm thinking of have only seen me once at an event, and maybe we spoke for like 5 minutes,
Okay.
right? At an event like 1 or 2 or 3 years ago.
Real quick, is there any, well, if you were to just a side thought, like if you were to
Sure.
do a workshop in front of an audience, ideally, what would that workshop be? Like if you could do a free workshop for an audience and basically teach them something, so that way you could get them interested, but like you could give them value first. Like what would be a workshop that you would put on? Is it around short form content? Is it around like what's a workshop you could do?
There's a lot of things. I could do one on um I could do one on basically coming up with content ideas, like creating your content calendar
Mhm.
for the next month. How to edit your videos. Um, in theory, I could do one on how to how to hire an editor, uh, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Those are the
I think I like
top
that. I
things.
like the idea of like content creation, right? The reason I'm asking you about this is because like I don't know, I haven't seen a ton of promotions come out of your page or hit my page at least yet, if it has been. So I'm just
I don't
thinking
run
about
ads. So, yeah,
what's up?
I don't run ads.
Right. I'm not saying even ads, I just mean organic, right? So like when people are posting and then it starts to get traction, I just start to see it because I'm on Facebook all day. Let me get station. I'm just thinking about like what would be a first workshop, like just picking a date or even pitching to an audience like Eli or any of these people who you know, rather than it being like trying to pitch them directly on the service.
Hmm.
It's like more about trying to get a deal around doing a workshop in front of their audience. Like that.
Eli did mention after we finished working together, he was thinking like he wanted information on like how he could, if he wanted to quickly shoot a video himself on his phone and edit it real quick and post it up, so he didn't have to rely on editors all the time.
Yeah. So like a title could be basically like how to create, high converting short form content without fancy editing, lighting, or like without X. So how to accomplish XYZ without ABC is always a winning formula. How to get what you want without what you hate. That's what that formula is.
Mm,
The reason I'm bringing that up for you is like if you could just put on a workshop rather than cold outreach, you could do a bunch of cold outreach, but I feel like just the fact of you promoting a workshop on your Facebook, on your stories, either the workshop is just to your own audience and you get people butts and seats on your own, or if you have someone in your network who you could do that workshop for, like then we're generating leads
yeah.
and authority and credibility. And even if you don't get leads from that, it's going to open up more doors for more promotion opportunities. Like the way I'm
Okay.
looking at our JVs right now is like Andrew and I are doing 2 of those a month, but then from that, we're building new connections and figuring out what's the next JV we can do. Like, oh, who else do you know in your network when we do like a workshop that we could maybe that who else do you know who could benefit from learning more about DM sales or whatever it is? Oh yeah, this guy. And so I'm not trying to sell the influencer or that person directly. I'm just trying to see how I can pitch in front of their audience and add value. And that leads to me getting a ton of leads in mass. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
It's just so much more effective than like, if think about it, right? Like just consider this. It's like the difference between trying to go like 1-to-1, like woodpecker, one at a time, like cold prospecting versus like, how can I just fucking hit 30, 40 people at once who are actually present?
Yeah. 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 No, that makes a lot of sense. All right. I do remember we had this conversation or similar conversation before. You told me about the workshop
Mhm.
masterclass that you guys have. So,
Yeah, we do one once
uh,
a week, and we are getting leads out of that for sure.
yeah.
If you message me on Slack, there is a section about like how to create your first little workshop as well. So happy to drop
Yeah.
that your way.
Cool.
I know
Yeah.
it
Yeah, that
might be a
makes
little
sense.
bit of a deflect, but like I just think of the best use of your time is like, yeah, putting out content, but like how can we create some leverage of having like your first workshop for you? I think would be a huge win.
Okay.
That
I
would
mean,
be
I'm all for it. I'm
that
all
would be
for it.
my challenge for sure is to run your first one because I think that would be like, for
Cool.
example, like one of my old mentors, Taylor Conroy, used to do one about like TikTok and how to create TikTok reels, and he would like have everyone create their first reel like on the workshop. Converted really,
Mhm.
really well.
Okay. How long do these workshops supposed to be? Like, do they have to be like
Well,
30 minutes, 60 minutes, or something like
I
that?
call it an hour to 90 minutes
Or 9 minutes. Okay. All right.
because you're gonna have people ask questions and you want to leave time at the end. So typically you book it in for let's say 60 minutes, but like what happens is the last 30 minutes is people asking questions
Mhm.
and staying on after, and just naturally it happens. People hang around longer, you over deliver, people hang out, and honestly, you get to basically have a bunch of mini sales calls at the end, which is freaking great
Mhm.
because you got people on there asking questions, and then you can literally just be like, cool, like what's your biggest issue right now with when it comes to short form content or XYZ content? And they're just flat out telling you their challenges because you're not actually there to pitch them right then and there. So it's low pressure.
Right.
Like trust is built, the authority is built. Like it's just speaking is so good, bro.
Okay. I mean, that works for me. I mean, I am kind of addicted to cold outreach, but all right. So this is better.
Why do you,
This
I
is
mean,
better. I'll
have
do
you gotten a
better.
ton of, I mean, are the results, do you like the results from it?
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I mean, what I was reaching out to marketing agencies specifically for, video, direct video work. So not
Mhm.
necessarily like be to like the direct consumer, just to them, and that was great. That was doing great. I've been hitting 10K consistently since I started doing that.
Okay.
Um,
Well, then I wouldn't ditch it if it's working, right?
Yeah, but I've just never like done it to like so the difference is I mean marketing agencies are easily identifiable, and like regardless of whether they have somebody good or not, they can always use another talented video person or video team. Finding the coaches or the business owners that can use my services, can afford it, and then don't already have somebody in place that's kind of doing it for them, is a
Hmm.
little bit more difficult. I could just ignore whatever they got on their page and just blast them anyways. Or I could be a little bit more discerning in who I
Yeah,
message.
that's where those workshops end up being nice, right? Because it's like it just brings better pond of fish, I guess. It's just a better quality.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'd say give it a go. Let me know what you find out. I think you'll crush it.
yeah. I'll give it a go, man. It's a good idea.
Let's
Cool.
go, baby. Sweet. I saw a question in the chat. Oh, had a question, but it completely fell out of her brain. That's unfortunate. I hate when that happens. Um, Stacia, good to see you. I know you were just pitching a 5K deal. How'd it go?
So he emailed me back he was ready to go, but now wants to talk about a payment plan. So I
Cool.
tried calling him and left a message like, hey, but like let's get on a call. So
Yeah, for sure. I think with those, it's like, cool. Yeah, let's jump on a call and then just pitch like 2 times. Keep it stupid simple. Like, I got this time or this time, which works best, and A or B. That should be easy. So, congrats, good work. Let's go. Love to see it.
Mason, I have a question.
Shoot.
Yeah. I'm curious what you have to say. So, probably like a month ago, I put a big ask out there on different communities that I'm part of, and it was asking for male practice clients. And so I have a like 20 plus men who filled out my application form, but they were totally under the assumption that it was a free practice clients. And I'm like, y'all, I do not have time to spend 10 sessions with 10, 20 men for free. So I have all of their info and I'm just wondering, like, I feel like I'm sitting on a gold mine because clearly they're interested, they're just not willing to pay. So it's like what to do with
Well, what
that
makes you,
data.
how do you know they're not willing to pay? What makes you say that?
Oh, because they came back and they were like, oh, sorry, I misunderstood. I thought practice meant free.
Yeah, okay. Doesn't necessarily mean like they're not willing to. It's just the framing of it was like whenever you say something's free, like on marketing, you're gonna get a lot of bites, right? Like,
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't say free. I just said practice, but I also didn't say a cost. So I was kind of, I knew what I was getting myself into.
yeah, I mean, for now, it's like make sure you connect with them on like Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, and like keep them as leads. I would be like, no stress. Like, I mean, honestly, I think for where you're at, since this is new, it would be really smart to take those calls, even if they are, just because. So, for example, like a lot of the ways I've seen people like start coaching businesses is like, yeah, hey, I'm going to do all these practice calls. And on the back end of that call, it's like, was this helpful for you? They're like, yeah, okay, what was most helpful for you? They're going to persuade themselves on why it was so awesome. And you basically say, like, cool, like, I'm glad that resonated for you. There's two things you can do. One is ask for a testimonial. So they do a video saying, hey, I worked with Athena. I did a session with her, blah, 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 blah. It was so incredible. Testimonial, really, really good. That's worth more than the money of the session for you right now because this is a new offer. You need social proof. You need people saying Athena is the shit. So like, even if they're not willing to pay, it's worth your time. I wouldn't think so short term about it. I would think long term. Make sense? So one, I would definitely take the calls, and two, it's still not a dead lead. So after you have that session, you say, hey, glad you enjoyed it. You know, you asked them if they enjoyed it. You didn't assume, right? Say, you know, hey, if I do actually put out an offer and I'm working, like I said, I'm doing practice right now. If I do put out an offer that could really help with this a little bit further, is that something you'd be open to explore further when I do release it? Like, would it be cool if I reach back out to you? And now you're getting permission to reconnect with them at a later point. So it accomplishes three things. You're going to build credibility from the testimonial videos. Two, you're going to get sales experience. Three, you're actually going to get market research. You're going to learn what these people like, what they don't like. You're just going to get better experience. So like, I would definitely not just discard them because they say they're not willing to invest. Like that's where you're at right now. That's like gold. That's experience worth a lot.
Yeah, thank you. I realized I did. So here's the step that I think I missed. I immediately sent them an email and was talking about like, oh yeah, discounted price. Da, 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 da. So they see the price, and that's what's having them be like, no. Instead of I should have, if I were to do it again, I would go back and just say like, here's the call booking link.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
hop on.
Book a call and we can dive into it. So like you're adding uh you're just adding friction, right? Just have like an open, honest conversation. Then you know, you ask for permission to pitch. You don't just start dropping an investment on someone, you know, say, hey, based on what we've covered here today, I do feel like what I do could be really helpful for you. Now, obviously, that would require some level of financial investment, time investment, energy investment. I guess I'm just wondering, like, if there were an opportunity to help you with XYZ, is that something worth exploring? Oh, yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay, great. Let's book another call where we'll go over more in depth what it is. But you're just asking for permission. You're not just like slapping them with a pitch and a price. Cool. Sweet. Joseph, let's go.
So I couldn't find the Zoom call.
Okay.
But my question is, I have a free school site, and there's like 40 guys in there, and we're not even administering it really. They're just kind of working on themselves at this point.
Cool.
What's the strategy to start bringing them over?
To the paid
Uh,
to get sales calls booked specifically, right?
yep, exactly.
Could you share your screen with me? Kind of,
Yep.
let me see. By the way, Luke, good to see you in here, man. Loved your origin story post. I saw that recently again. It's badass. Looks like it's loading slowly for some reason. There we go.
It's my computer. It's whatever.
Cool. So if you go to members, Bam. Click on like the first name besides Andrew, obviously. If you just click on the chat for me,
Okay.
right next to Aaron's name, so you see chat. Click on that. Let's just see if there's a automated message. So this is a free group.
Yes.
Okay, so the very first thing we need to solve for, even before going into this, do me a favor and just close this conversation out.
Okay.
I'm going to share my screen for a second and just show you something. And then I want this as your first piece of homework is to create an automated message. So let's go to one moment. So there should definitely be a first automated message, and it's a built-in function in school, nothing crazy. But if you go to like the group, right here on the right, you can see settings.
Hold on. I can't see your screen.
Oh yeah, no worries. It might just be I can reach.
It's my stuff here. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just put stop sharing on yours, and then I'll share mine.
I tried to push it too.
Cool. So yeah, this one's pretty straightforward. You just come into your group. It's kind of the same view that you had a second ago.
Mm-hmm.
You see my screen okay?
Not yet.
Anyone else seeing it, or is it just
No,
me?
it's mine. My Zoom's having a problem. I'm
Oh,
gonna
okay.
turn it off and jump right back on.
Okay, no stress. This is good for any of you guys. Basically, you should just settings, plugins, auto DM new members. It's built into school. We've been testing different versions of this. I really like to just offer them like 2 resources, basically. Like, hey, welcome to the community. We keep testing different ones here, so like this is a different one, honestly. So I'll have to take a look at that in a minute. I'll grab the one I like the most and drop it in the chat, though. 1 second. The one that worked the best so far that I've tested, it's just a simple A or B, like, hey, I just want to say like, welcome to the community. You know, like our mission here is XYZ. I wanted to welcome you with a free gift if that's cool. Gift number 1, and it's like some resource, or gift number 2, and it's like some other resource. And basically those 2 gifts, if they select it, you know, it's a good conversation opener because now we have a context. Okay, cool. Let me send over the resource. And by the way, what made you like want to select that resource? Like what made you resonate with that one? And that way we're basically having a chance to understand maybe what their problem is. So like, for example, my 2 resources might be option 1. Let me make sure Joseph's back in. Joseph, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I sure can.
So I'll go back to the automation in a second, but you'll just want to do an automated school message. You can type it into ChatGPT or school. It's like really straightforward. First message, just one intro message. One that's worked really well for us is Andrew messing with it, so I went to go look at it and it changed it again. He tests a lot of stuff, but the one that has worked really, really well, I'll just do a new document. So school first message. So it'd be like, hey name, welcome aboard to the XYZ community. Wanted to welcome you with a free gift if that's cool. If that's cool. And then I would just do resource 1. So give them like an option with the name of it, or resource 2. And this format worked really well. So like resource 1 might be like how to create your 6-figure offer document, offer doc in 60 minutes or less. And then resource number 2 could be, you know, how to run a self-sustaining 7-figure business. So based off kind of what they say and what they respond, I can already start to kind of like guess, but not assume. Maybe they're more of like a new coach or more of an experienced coach. So I'm basically trying to get them to bucket themselves without me directly asking it right away. Are they new to this? Are they not new to this? So that way, like their first selection already from the get-go, I'm like creating a thread for a conversation. So like for your offer, it's going to be about like dating. So maybe it's like resource 1 is like how to approach women and have ultimate confidence without, you know, hesitation. I don't know. Figure out like the copy for these 2 resources. and let them pick one of them. And basically from there, you'd be like, cool, send them the resource. Did that link work okay? And then it's like, do you mind if I ask you a few questions about like, your dating and your goals just to see if I can help point you in the right direction? And then that's everything that's in the DM sales call flow. If you go through the course, there's DM sales. It's actually all in there. But I definitely would add that automated message like today and start testing an automated message. Since those people didn't get hit up though, I would just send the message anyways. So if you want to craft your V1 of it and send it to me on Slack, I can get you some feedback on it as well. That way, anytime someone new comes in, they get a first message automatically. So I'll show you real quick, just our inbox. So let me see a recent one. Let me go back to the beginning of this. So we've tried different ones. Some of them have been like, here's some next steps. What brings you to the community? Some of them have been, let me go look at a few of them. We've been testing a bunch of different ones. But you can see sometimes it takes like a few starters before something actually kicks off, right? Like this is Feb. It took like, Andrew's pretty damn persistent, right? This is like Feb, March of 2024. And then this is Jan of 2025. And then we get a response in Jan. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like, he's just dripping on him over time. He didn't just like give up after the first one. Sometimes it does take a few before it like hits off and actually goes on school. So I think that's like a good example right there of being like, hey, if we would have just given up after the first one and been like, oh, I'm annoying him, they would have just like screwed off. So is that helpful?
Yeah, it is. Thanks.
Yeah, if you go through the DM sales training, like it's pretty darn clear of like the types of questions to ask and the general flow, and yeah, get an automated message. It'll make a life changer for that group.
And then go ahead.
I was gonna say GIFs work really well for re-engaging people. I always just want to find a specific and relevant way to engage that person. Like, so for you, the homework would be like, yes, make an automated message, but go through those and look at their profiles before you send the message. And if you can send something that's more contextual, that shows you did a tiny bit of research, like your response rates will go from here to here.
Okay.
Just inserting some sort of comment that shows any sort of personalization. They're like, oh, this person's a human, not a bot. Or they don't think you're a setter. So like that's been a thing for us where like people will think it's like Andrew is a setter, and then I'll be like, yo, Andrew, send him a selfie. And he'll send him like a selfie at his desk. This is bad to say this, but one time he did like an 8 and a bunch of equal signs and like you know what I'm saying? He made a dick in the DMs, and he's like, would a setter do this? And then he put like an arrow to him, and the guy was like, all right, fuck, it's not a setter. So like for Velch, is Velch, have trouble pronouncing your name. It's Velko.
Velko, yes.
Velko. Yeah, it's just like if you get like challenged in the DMs with that frame, is this a setter? Like that's a really good way to break their frame and be like, would a setter do this? And just do something like atrocious, right? And then just be like, daddy's here, and like it's just eliminated, right? And that's yeah, that's just some side notes for if you get to that point, Joseph. But I'm just on a fire hose here of DM experience. But first thing is,
that leads me to the next question. Rolo has a whole bunch of, like I said, 71,000 on Instagram.
yeah,
Do I need to get a DM setter to start getting to those people?
I would for sure make sure there's an automated message that goes out. I'd love to test having like some sort of quick text and then a voice note, because you can have him record a voice note that's like an intro message that doesn't have the person's name, but like people will feel like, oh shit, he's actually hitting me up. So that's something we just started testing, and be like, yo, Rolo here, just saw you like follow me, dude, appreciate it. Like, what's up in your world? Like something just to like be like, oh shit. If you can get an automated message there, quick text and then a voice note, like I think your response rates will be really, really solid off that.
Okay. And then he's doing a podcast every Sunday, and there's usually like 2,000 to 3,000 people on it.
Yeah, so driving those traffic, like having some sort of simple call to action to join your school group,
Hmm.
like on that, anytime you have exposure and you have the mic and you have the audience, it's driving them to the free school group, and then you're funneling them into that first automated message that I just told you about a couple minutes ago, right?
Okay. Yep.
So basically, hey, yeah, if you want to get the XYZ dating resource, join the free school in the podcast description or whatever the link is, you know, and just put the school, and now you'll get school members incoming from that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
just funnel them there, and then you'll get their name, email, info, and now you can just DM them. If you have that consistent exposure, yeah, just drive it to the school group.
Thanks.
Simple, super simple, actually. That's great. Um, with his IG, it's probably worth testing a few like hand raiser posts and just seeing if you can get some simple CTAs like, hey, just put together like, you know, XYZ training on dating and ABC. Like, if you want it, comment like blank. Just see if you can get like good engagement off that. Stories,
Okay.
same thing, like polls on stories, like, you know, hey, like, you know, comment yes or whatever. Like if you can get like ways where they can engage, that you definitely do ideally want a DM setter. But at first I would just have you just be in the DMs and test it and get experience
Mhm.
and just get in there, like log into Instagram on the computer of his, you're on your computer on his account, just get his account info and just log in. Do you have access to his IG?
I can get, yeah.
Yeah, I would get access to his socials on your profile. That's what I do with Andrew, so I'm able to be in his inbox.
Okay.
I don't suggest hiring the DM setter maybe like right away. I'd love for you to get like a little experience and just get in the trenches, right? Because then your ability to give feedback to the DM setter will be exponentially higher, and you'll be able to like look at messages, send screenshots. Like we have a Slack channel of like DM sales, and when I see things, I screenshot it, I put it in there, I tag the setter, and I say this didn't work or this did work, and just to reinforce stuff. But if you never practice it, it's hard to give feedback.
Okay. Yeah. I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah, it'll set you guys up.
Nice.
Is that helpful?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, 100%, man. Kayla's back. Another one.
Yeah, I have a question. So I've been doing the thing, like Andrew taught me how to go to like Facebook profiles, pages that I like or like that I would want to exemplify in my work, and then scroll under like their post and then the people that have liked their post and then friend those people, specifically the ones who have like common, like friends in common on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that, and I got a message from one of the people like, "Hey, nice to meet you. Just curious what prompted you to friend request me. I don't believe we know each other, do we?" And so I just kind of said something, you know, kind of generic, like, "Oh, I'm expanding my online network, and you know, I love what you're up to," and the thread line of, you know,
You know,
arrows.
you know what would be funnier is just to be like, I'm here to pitch you, JK, LOL. Just break the frame right away, right? So that's how like what Andrew and I do is we just break it at that point. Like, oh, I'm here to cold pitch you. And then I would go JK, LOL. So like I love using JK and then a separate one, LOL, on DMs. It just works really well because you just like you just broke the frame, right? She's trying to be kind of like kindly trying to say, what the fuck are you doing here? She's basically kindly saying that, and then you just break that frame. You just take back the frame. And now she's like, ah, shit, this person's cool.
Well, I did not do that. So
I know,
I
I
guess,
just know, I'm just helping you for future, right? Because now you're like, oh, I'm just here doing this. So like, and that's like maybe sort of. It's like I'm looking to fucking build connections and make more money. You know, that's what you're actually looking to do. May as well be real. Voice notes are powerful for that.
yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, the reason I connected with you is because I saw we had like a bunch of mutuals, and I'm here to cold pitch you mainly. Just kidding, LOL. So like, imagine you do that over voice note, like they're gonna laugh, right? Like no one has the guts to do that, and you're calling out the elephant that you're not gonna cold pitch them right away. That you want to build connections.
Yeah. Yeah. And she said, "Oh, amazing. Looking forward to knowing you more."
Yeah. So, um, no, I think that's good experience just to have a little bit of that sass in the DMs. Like sometimes people will be like, oh, can I, like they start to ask me for something like, oh, like for example, a lot of two-step posts on Facebook, which is like, you know, where you give away a free resource, right? Be like, they're like, hey, can I get the resource? And I'm like, no, JK, LOL, right? I just fuck with people a little bit. And it's like now they're not seeing you as just like another salesperson or another coach, like that little differentiator, pattern interrupt. Just be playful.
Yeah.
Works really well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like sometimes people will ask me for a resource. I'm like, oh man, we just ran out of stock of that one. We don't have it in stock anymore. It's like a YouTube video. And I just fuck with people, right? And I'm like, all right, JK, LOL. You see what I mean? Like, just have fun with the DMs. I think it's good to have a light energy in there. Like, you don't want to be like, yeah, it's just helpful to have a light energy in the DMs. Works well. Love it. Cool, guys. That was pretty solid. What were some? We dove into quite a bit today, which was great. It was actually it was a solid session, guys. Some takeaways. I'll list a few, and I'll let you guys kind of drop in with a few takeaways. I know we had getting that automated message on school for Pablo. We were talking about how do you not sound salesy and find the right person who is responsible. Kayla, not letting them take the frame. A little bit of JK, LOL. What else did you guys take away from today? We went through quite a bit. Few takeaways. I'll let you guys don't all come off of mute at once, okay? Let's see, Stacia.
Yeah, mine was just like, I forgot. I need to go back and like follow up with all. I have the auto DM, but I don't go back and like keep like messaging.
That was an eye opener for you, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like, I'll show you guys this really quick. Let me go to, and this is in the course. This is just my internal training. But if I go to, where are my follow-ups? I built this thing out so much. Bumps. So I'm a human, no tax on responding, man of many words. I might send like the Pooh Bear GIF that says think, or this person hanging, leaving me hanging. Like it's literally a woman hanging on a door. I'm like, are you gonna leave me hanging? Do you still want XYZ result, or should I stop reaching out on this? I have a crazy idea. Do you have 10 minutes? If I can add context, some reason, like Andrew and I are just really, one thing we've gotten really good at, and we're really creative with, is finding creative ways to re-engage with people on the DMs. So whether it's GIFs, whether it's looking at something on their personal profile that's relevant. One of the reasons I really love DMing out of school is because if you have like courses in there, you could screenshot one of your modules and send a screenshot. Hey, I think this would be really resonate with you based off what you said earlier. Because if they're ghosting, you want to add value. It's like, oh, I know you mentioned that you were struggling to get girls. I just put together this training and send a screenshot of the cover, like the thumbnail, and be like, cool, if I send that to you. And now they're like, yeah, fuck yeah. So just, I think building out like a couple of resources of like a few videos is always nice. If you don't have YouTube videos or school videos yet, then it just makes life really easy for follow up. And yeah, Stacia, I'm glad you saw that. That was probably pretty eye opening. Any other takeaways? I think we got one. Be chill and fun in the DMs, not super cold and salesy. Yeah, it doesn't work. I wouldn't want it. I barely reply to DMs as it stands. So it's got to be like engaging and like stand out for me, or I'm probably gonna not reply. Like straight up. Sweet, guys. Yeah, thanks, JC. Congrats on the deal, and Cameron, congrats on the deal, taking action. Love to see it, guys. And Joseph, I'm curious to hear how that goes with funneling people from the traffic sources you guys do have to the school group, and then just getting the DM sales going in that. I think that'll be huge. If you don't already have like some sort of mini course in there, Joseph, I would build some sort of like, yeah, they're like exactly like dating apps, dude. If you're freaking good at like dating apps, it's the same shit. You just got to be different, right? If you sound like every other chump dude who's like, how's your day going? It's like shoot in the face. So be different and have fun with it, and you'll crush.
And then what were you talking about? So in the free course have, or the free school have like a little course for them there too?
Sure. Yeah. So if you guys don't already, like just on school, like this is our free group. It's called the 7 Figure Coach collective in the classroom. We just have like a couple different like little mini modules in here. So depending on what they're struggling with, I'll just like either record them a quick Loom video and be like, hey, go check out this. So it's like more intimacy and more personalization. Like they're like, oh shit, this is a real person talking to me. Or I'll just screenshot a section and I'll like screenshot this thing and then send them the link to it. So if I wanted like the setting process, they needed help with that, I would screenshot this, send it to them, and then send them the link right here, because this link will take them straight to it because they already have access to my group. This URL is the URL to this page of the course. So like I can send them a screenshot and send them a video, and like it'll get them more engaged in the DMs for sure. Just more creative ways of following up than how are you or what's going on. It's more relevant, it's more specific. So sweet guys. And that's it for now. I think that was how would you guys rate the meeting? We do this internally. So I'd say drop a scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate the call today? If it's below a freaking 8, you got to come up and tell me why. I got a 10. Where are we at? We do this internally on all of our team meetings as well. 10. Sweet guys. This one was 9 points. I want 9.5. Meetings, like I'm really structured about how I run our team meetings, and then if anything's below like an 8, then we have to have a reason why, and we get feedback. So I'll make a training on that actually, how I run team meetings in Asana. If you guys have a team, super helpful. It's been helping us have way more coordination. So I'll see that for later, but keep up the good work, guys, crushing it, and I will see you next Wednesday, and I'll see you guys in Slack. Peace.